Well, well, well. Bitcoin, huh? Nice little move to the upside. Can't quite claim the 100K, but not bad for a birthday pump. In tonight's video, I want to try and keep this one short and sweet for you. There's been an article about the Coinbase Premium Index suggesting that investors' interest in Bitcoin is waning. Well, I'm not interested in retail investors. Nah. This chart's going to help you understand really what's going on. And you've heard me talking about it before, so maybe we could apply that logic in tonight's video to better serve you and get you aware of what could be developing with Bitcoin's price. Going to be talking about a trade that I took earlier on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'll be explaining that to you very shortly, but we're just going to quickly go over what's going on in the marketplace. And then I think that should be a good day for you guys to go and enjoy your weekend, because next week, that's when the flavor begins. So let's get with the program, guys. Stocks today, they make a nice little rebound on the back of manufacturing data coming in nicely. Well, going over to that, you can see that the ISM manufacturing PMI came in showing a little bit of an expansion. However, it's still below 50. So it is in contractionary period as such, but a reading of 49.3 shows that things are starting to develop in the manufacturing sector. Going into the next reading on prices, it shows at 52.5. That means there is expansion in the manufacturing prices, which could be a bit of a problem for inflation. But I would suggest that the next week, going into the big boy data, where we've got non-farm payrolls, we've got Waller speaking from the FOMC. Is he going to be hawkish? What's he going to be saying to us? Does he think that the Fed should keep interest rates at the current level? Should we even get any cuts going in this 2025 year? Now, with that being said, you've got to take into consideration that we are going to get data on the jobs market, and that is one of the fuels to whether or not the Fed is going to cut interest rates, unless by any act of God that the unemployment rate itself shoots up to 6%. The Fed is still probably more than likely going to keep the interest rates where they are and only give us a very small rate cut in the next few meetings for the FOMC. But if the US economy seems to be doing really, really well, why should they be cutting? This, quite frankly, their goal is to get inflation down. And that's not really going to be happening when you've got great employment market and you've got expansion in the manufacturing sector, which is going to be one of those triggers that could lead inflation to go up. Not to forget about good old Donald Trump and his tariffs. We ain't there yet, but the inauguration on the 20th of January is going to put things into perspective. So just keep an eye out. The next few days or going into the next couple of weeks of January are going to be very monumental for the marketplace. With that being said, going over into today, Euro hasn't really had that much of a great time. It's been getting absolutely violated by the back of the strength of the dollar. The dollar is currently trading at 8.7%, pretty much flat for the day. It's not really done much. It stayed in this same range, and that pretty much explains why everything has been making a bit of a move today. Going over to the Nasdaq, you can see Nasdaq has done very, very well, and we projected this move today for the Platinum members, so we had a look on the Nasdaq today. Let's quickly have a look at that. There we go. So the Nasdaq, we wanted to see Nasdaq make a move to the upside. I was projecting the idea of them hitting the 21,358 in the first instance to take some profits, and we wanted to see the 21,493 region. We go back into that, and you can see that they completely swept the 29,495 before they actually came back down again. So we saw the success of the play, and that is just pretty much textbook play on the hybrid system. Red vector candle, consolidate, bring it back up again. Green vector candle move to the upside. Happy days. And this logic is very simple to put to the test only when the environment suggests so. As you can see, they've got the red vector candles. This was the Nasdaq breaking a 5-day losing streak, and you can see that it's actually up 1.44%. Now, on the back of that, I also shared some trade setups for the for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So my logic today for Bitcoin was to try and hit 98,643 based on this consolidation area here. We go over to Bitcoin's price action, and you can see that it actually managed to take out the top side of the move, 98.46. Where is it? 98.456. So we were kind of a little bit off, but not bad. $200, I'll take that, but the night's still not done. We also had this Ethereum trade as well. So I shared this Ethereum, and I took this trade myself as well. And on the trade, I managed to clear. It was a very good day for Ethereum. So we managed to get a entry on. So this was actually, we go back to Ethereum. So for Ethereum, we managed to get an entry on 3,482. And we managed to close off at $3,579 to clear $11,660 right there on Ethereum. And then, of course, with the Bitcoin trade, we only managed to clear $3,758 because I didn't have the patience to sit around. I missed my target as such, the target I initially wanted for the day. But never mind, we do what we do. So we cleared 15K for the day. So that is a good day in trading in cryptocurrency. Naturally, you can see Ethereum does look like it still wants to go up a little bit more. But that's not what I'm about. I'm not interested in holding on to dear life and trying to make the most out of the trade. I've done what I've done. I've taken from the market. I did the vector candle recovery principle, and it worked a treat for trading on a Friday. So happy days right there, and mad love to anyone in the Platinum members that took advantage of it. If you want to get involved in these sort of setups, then go check out the Platinum membership, where these are the sort of setups that I do aim to try and get out to everyone so that you can take advantage of these sort of plays yourself. Okay, everything you need is in the description of this video. Now, the topic at hand, the Coinbase Premium Index. Come and have a look at this, what was said. It says here that the Coinbase Premium Index plunges to a 12-month low, signaling waning US investor demand. Where's that index? It's right here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. The lowest it's been in a year. What does that mean? Well, it means that no one's interested in Bitcoin anymore. No one wants to buy Bitcoin anymore. Well, that is debatable because things are looking all right in the ETF. It looks like they're holding and nothing much has happened. We go into the actual analytics of what's going on the ETF, and you can see that there has been some selling. And that was about an hour ago. Okay, but that's not really a problem. We're not looking at massive amounts of Bitcoin. If we're pretty honest with you, if we refresh this and have a look at the balance, it went from 550 and then it went to 551. Okay, so when you look at the balance overall, you've effectively had, let's just go back into it, do a little bit of math. Where are we with BlackRock? You've sold 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, okay, just shy of around nearly 1,800 Bitcoin. Well, come on, man. Let's be honest, man. There's 550,000 in there. I'm not too concerned about 1,800 Bitcoin being sold now. And if you are, then this game is not for you. But going back into this Coinbase Premium story, this is very important to help you understand how to use this information to really make you think and avoid going with the masses. Okay, look, if we go over to the Coinbase Premium Index, take every point in the chart of this index where there has been a peak. So look at this. If I zoom in to show you what I'm talking about, look at this low right here. Okay, that low right there is showing to you that on the Coinbase Premium Index, it means that US investors are selling. Who are they selling to? You can only sell if someone's buying. What happens to the Bitcoin? What happens to the order? Because when you think about it, the Bitcoin circulating is still going to be the same. If it goes from one person to another, it's still the same Bitcoin. But there is a transaction behind a transaction. So when this chart says to me that it's going down and it's red, you got to get ready to buy. Now, looking at Bitcoin's price action, you could be saying to yourself, well, is investors' interest really waning? Well, from a structural point of view, you can look at it and say to yourself, well, hold on a second, hold on. This is good news. Bitcoin's moving up. I want that violet vector candle. There could be another move to the upside. Could this be the move that takes Bitcoin to 115,000, which is what my price projection is for Bitcoin in the first quarter of 2025? Ideally, I want it to happen in January. That'll be a treat. But this is the logic. The Coinbase Premium Index is suggesting now investors are selling their Bitcoin, but they're selling it to who? To back that logic up, look at this. What do you see here? Here are the orders for Bitcoin traders. People that are placing limit buys and limit sells. Limit buys are below price and limit sells are above price. So there's someone right now that wants to sell $4 million worth of Bitcoin at 98,500. There is also someone that wants to sell $5 million worth of Bitcoin at 99,000. Okay, cool. That's fine, Tino. And what about down below? Well, we've got some guys down here trying to come in and buy Bitcoin. When it gets to 97,874, someone is there buying. So in other words, guys, the buying and the selling can only happen if there's someone buying and selling. So then when we go back to this Coinbase Premium Index, we can look at this and say that we may have had ourselves a change in the way retail is thinking about cryptocurrency when realistically smart money is getting in and buying up Bitcoin. Go back and look at every single peak that you've seen at the lows. From that point, you can see the white price line. Bitcoin starts to move up from that point. If you are buying from that logic, the price principle says that it's going to be marking back up. Look at when the Coinbase Premium Index turned green, okay? Look at when it turned green and it started to trade higher. At that point, that's when retail traders are stepping in and buying Bitcoin. US retail investors are buying Bitcoin. At that point, you can see that it's showing like a topping formation. And you can see from that point, Bitcoin then drops down. So the guys that were buying Bitcoin on the way down have made their money on that move up. Why? Because they're selling into the person that's buying it. The simplicity of the market really is like that. You've just got to try and time your entry point on the idea that you are getting in at the time when smart money's buying and when retail is selling. And you want to get out when smart money is selling and retail is buying. By that logic, the Coinbase Premium Index is suggesting to me that Bitcoin's price right now is coming away and creating what would look like the rise, the retrace, the continuation to the upside. And that's the logic that we could be going with. Bitcoin has got a lot of work to do to try and claim the all-time high again. But there's too much coming into play right now. The next biggest event that can hit cryptocurrency is, of course, the inauguration of Trump. And I keep saying it, but it's the only next big event. After that, it's how Trump handles being president. What's he going to react to? What's his tariffs? What's his economic policies? How is that going to adjust investors' sentiment? Is Trump's policies going to start releasing capital from the ETF marketplace where they plant money over there to diversify their portfolio exposure? Does it mean that it's then going to come out of the ETF marketplace and start going into assets like the Nasdaq, the S&P, stocks, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it? Everybody's waiting for Trump, with a little bit of waiting for the Federal Reserve to do its bit and cut the interest rates. Because naturally, when the yield on the dollar is depreciating, assets against the US dollar will appreciate. Now, as long as the US dollar itself keeps on staying at these significant levels, that might be a bit of a hard time for Bitcoin to really make a move. But looking at the way the dollar is behaving, there is a possibility that this move up is effectively pricing in what we are going to unveil in next week's data. If next week's data supports the idea that the US economy, in principle, is doing fine, and that the Federal Reserve will still cut interest rates, that means the yield on the dollar in the future is going to be lower. That means investors then need to put their money elsewhere to seek yield. That means the bond market is going to rise. That means the yields on the bonds will come down. That means the Nasdaq will continue to mark higher. That means the S&P will continue to mark higher. Not to forget the NVIDIA key speaker event. That's on the 6th of January. So there are a number of things that could be coming into play to suggest that Bitcoin is more than likely going to sustain this move to the upside from this simple test of the moving average. They've tested it once. The Coinbase Premium Index is suggesting that investors' interest is waning according to sources right here. It's plunging. US investors are no longer interested in Bitcoin. Let's be honest. Are you losing interest? Come on, you're all from the United States. Are you losing interest in Bitcoin? Very surprised to see if you all are. With that logic being said, going into the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, just keep an eye out on Bitcoin's price action. For my holders, this is the next significant point for Bitcoin to claim. It needs to break above 100K for us to even have a standing chance of Bitcoin marking up and trying to proclaim the vector candle recovery region right here. If Bitcoin can make its way up to at least the minimum of 103,000 and consolidate, and then next week's data is favorable for Bitcoin, There's nothing Bitcoin going on to claim another all-time high. And there's nothing stopping it from continuing to potentially take the 120, because that's what the word on the street is saying. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this information will better serve you. Remember, the Coinbase Premium Index gives you the extremes of what retail traders are thinking. When they're selling, someone is buying, and you can't sell if no one buys. And some of you might challenge that, but that's the name of the game. I'll be tuning into you all on Monday morning. Have yourselves a great weekend. Mad love and respect.